Welcome to week 4 on my series on the artist's way, recovering a sense of integrity. In working with morning pages, Julia Cameron says, we start to differentiate between our real feelings and the feelings we put on public record as part of our image. We have to be honest with ourselves about how we feel if we're ever going to have a chance at any kind of artistic expression. For a long time, I really struggled with basic decision making. I wore uniforms growing up in school, and I had some pretty intense standards placed on me as a kid. So when I became an adult, even just choosing clothes to wear was a monumental task until the first time I went through this book. Like I mentioned in week 3, after a lifetime of doing my best to live up to everyone's expectations, I was doing a piss poor job of living up to my own expectations. But morning pages were amazing, and still are, because every day I can go back to them and really own my feelings about anything going on in my life. I was diagnosed with PTSD years ago, and before it went into remission, I noticed that I would dissociate in moments of distress. And I wouldn't understand something upset me until maybe days, weeks, months, or years later, after I finally felt safe enough to write it down in morning pages and feel the feelings that came with it. This came as a shock to people in my life who thought I had suddenly changed my mind and didn't understand the way complex PTSD rewires the brain and how you need to feel safe before you can feel a feeling. Some days I ended up in a puddle on the floor, crying while doing my morning pages, discovering my boundaries I never really was allowed to have before. This clarity was a long time coming. And for better or worse, those boundaries change who is going to be in your life. If you're used to gaslighting yourself into believing things are fine when your body knows everything is not fine, you're going to see your social circle change when you finally start listening to yourself. Though it's really frightening to let go of what it feels like you're losing, Julia Cameron reminds us that what you're really losing is your false self. It's all the illusions and lies you tell yourself to keep functioning in a life you don't really even want. Letting go of my false self was a long process. First, I lost my boyfriend, a guy I thought I would marry. I lost a lot of friends who honestly didn't even know the real me. I lost jobs that stifled my creative process, and almost all my possessions, and even any semblance of life stability. And then I wrote a song about it, because, well, what else could I do? When we lose the false self, it can be very traumatic. When I finally let go of all the lies and illusions I'd been holding on to, I didn't know who I was anymore. Without my money, my career, the social status that came with it, I sunk into a deep depression. But when I came out, it was different than before. I grieved a lot. I cried. I calmed myself. I drew. I practiced guitar. A new self started to form. Chapter 4 also introduces the reading deprivation. I gave up my addiction to watching and reading the news. It was like watching a train wreck. I couldn't look away. I was terrified of what the world was turning into, but I gave it up anyway, and I was amazed at my mental health improvements. I didn't understand how badly I was being yanked around emotionally by the media. The stillness of your own thoughts, or the beauty of any other non-language based activity, is healing to anxiety in a way I can't explain in words. You have to just try it yourself and see how it feels. When I stopped reading to focus on music, dancing, or drawing, I realized it invited in a mild euphoria. And it invited it in way more easily than before, when I was reading a ton. One of the most disconcerting studies I ever read in graduate school is that graduate students and people with advanced degrees are some of the most miserable people on earth. It's probably no coincidence that they're constantly reading. So if you do decide to give the reading deprivation a shot, you should take some time to envision your ideal life. The tasks in this chapter have you focus on what you like, all sorts of things, little things and big things. If you're struggling to envision your perfect room, house, town, or season, get thee to Pinterest and start thinking about how certain aesthetics make you feel. Time travel and give advice to your future and past selves. Look at your house and think about how it makes you feel. Change it if you want. Always pay attention to how your surroundings make you feel and take action on it when you need to. If you want to follow along on this journey through the Artist Way, you can pick up your copy on bookshop.org. Affiliate link is in the description below.